by going through trauma and being forced to change, you get outside of your comfort zone, you get to experience fear. And he was sharing that he had a successful life with a big house, the wife and kids. And on the inside, he was just not a happy person.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the evolving convo I had with Stephan Neff in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that interview, make sure you do after you listen to this one, because it's great. Stephan is really cool. And he's got that New Zealand accent, which is, if you're in the Western world, it's kind of nice. I guess that's the Western world as well. If you're in the United States, an accent is nice. It's, it's different than mine. So anyways, today is March 6th, 2025, and it's the Day of the Dude.
The Day of the Dude.
Day of the Dude is celebrated on March 6th every year to commemorate the North American release of the movie The Big Lebowski in 1998. The movie portrays a protagonist with a laid-back attitude to life whose simplicity, peace, and happiness. The idea is to enjoy life's little moments, such as bowling or drinking with some friends. The holiday looks to promote ease and simplicity in society. Being able to easily let things go and go with the flow is a big part of the lifestyle. The lifestyle portrayed in the movie inspired the birth of the religion philosophy known as Dudism.
Dudism.
And so, you know what, guys? I think we all need to just sit back, go bowl, drink with some friends, and just have a day where you just relax a little bit. I didn't really get the movie. I think that's because I can't relax very well. So I think maybe this is my Day of the Dude. It's Jeff Bridges, and who doesn't love John Goodman?
And Steve Buscemi. I mean, there's so many.
Julianne Moore.
It's amazing.
Sam Elliott, John Turturro. Huge cast.
Yeah.
Amazing cast.
Pretty fantastic.
So I think we saw this at the cemetery. We saw The Big Lebowski at the cemetery.
I'm pretty sure we saw it at the cemetery.
The one and only time I've ever seen The Big Lebowski. But anyways, my loves, part of being until you see it is resting and relaxing. If you cannot, just have some moments where you go with the flow. Take the Day of the Dude as a reminder to, find some simple ways to enjoy life.
So, hey, we just got back from Cambodia.
We did a couple days ago.
It was an amazing trip. We got a chance to hang with some friends who we basically consider family at this point. Take a bunch of people around to see some of our favorite spots literally in the world. And we want you to join us on our next trip. Come this October 2025 to see our house and see the life that we've built over there, that we welcome you to stay at our place and tour the temples, do some Pilates, meet some elephants, all the things. Go to crowsnestretreats.com, crowsnestretreats.com. And in a couple weeks.
Not even a couple weeks. I think we're like about a week-ish from this coming out. We're probably in Denver. At this point.
Actually, we may be at POT.
We're definitely supposed to be rolling in tonight.
Yeah, we're driving.
So we're in the Aurora area with the van to see our Balanced Body peeps and our POT attendee people and just have some fun.
Trip.
No dogs. We're leaving them at home, mostly because
we're going to be gone for like 8 hours, 10 hours a day. It's tough.
Also easy if we took one, not so easy if we take two.
Yeah.
So no dogs, but we'll be there. Come say hi to us. March 18th to the 24th, the accessories flashcard deck, the final deck. This is it, guys. This is the last one. It's being pre-saled. I guess that's now a verb. On March 18th to the 24th, it's going on pre-sale, which means it'll be 30% off its original price. Doesn't mean it will ship to you the next day. It means you get to wait until it ships, but you get to get the best price. We do not do this discount again. And so we really, truly hope that you take advantage of it. So go to opc.me/flashcard waitlist, because only those on the waitlist will get the invite to get the discount. You will not see this on Instagram. You will not hear about it here again. This is it. Then in April 27th through May 3rd, we have a week-long spring training. Yes, our own version of a baseball event, but it's with Pilates and it's with all the OPC teachers and myself. We've got 10 classes planned over 7 days, all different time zone. Yes, there's a limited replay. Yes, it's going to be super affordable. And if you go to opc.me/events and get on the wait list, you will get invited to the early bird price, which is basically stealing this, this amazing event. And if you're an OPC member, it's free. But opc.me/events is the wait list for the early bird price.
Yeah. And if you are taking money from a client at all in any way, shape, or form, that makes you a business owner. Congratulations. Even if you don't see yourself as that, even if it's like a side hobby kind of a thing, technically you still are a business owner. And I have a free webinar for you. It's called the Accelerator Webinar. Come join me at prfit.biz/accelerator, where I'm going to be revealing the 3 biggest secrets that Lesley and I have learned from coaching more than 2,500 businesses just like yours over the past 7 years through agency, our coaching program. So join me at prfit.biz/accelerator. That's profit without the O, .biz/accelerator.
Doesn't that word just make you want to just go, because it's accelerated? Before we get into Stephan Neff's interview, we have an audience question.
Yes, we do. Kara Dowd says, hey, I listened to the podcast. I'm hoping for nuggets of wisdom here. As I am an instructor, wondering the big question of whether I should make the transition to a studio owner. Either way, it's a great podcast. Well, I hope so. What if we told you no, Kara? Would it still be a good podcast? I'm teasing. Well, thank you for saying that. It's very kind. And we are really glad that you listen. And this is a great question that is really tough for us to answer because there's a lot of factors involved. That's actually literally why I host this webinar that we were just talking about. So if you haven't done it yet, Kara, you totally should join me on the Accelerator, where we're talking about how do we create the right plan for you with your business? Because Kara, you have your own goals and your own dreams, and you choosing to open a studio, it's not like there is one path that you have to take in this career. Every single business owner that we work with has their own desires, their own vision for their business. And we help you sculpt and create that path that allows you to enjoy your business. Because what if you didn't want to open a studio and have the stress of paying rent and maybe you even have a team and all that? Like, what if you're like, why am I doing this? I just want to teach out of my house.
Right.
You don't need to go open a studio.
Right.
But you also could if that was what you wanted to do.
But also you could have a studio in an office building, like where the rent is something you could pay in a week of teaching. And so you have the other 3 weeks for profit and taxes. And because it's in an office building, it's really safe. You don't need anyone else. If you can get the systems in place, you can run it by yourself. Like I had a studio by myself. And then our goals changed. And so that studio had to change. My teacher, who I take from, he is solo. So he went from being a renter to actually just open up his own space and doing it himself. So the big transition is, how big is it? It depends. We already have all this equipment. So if we were to transition to a brick and mortar, the big expense is really going to be the building. What do we have to do there? Are we going to buy it? Are we going to just curate it? Are we just going to paint the wall? What are we going to do? So what I would say is actually ask yourself, okay, I have a studio. What does it look like? And make sure you're not picturing someone else's studio. What does your studio look like? Right now, like if I'm picturing like, what's our future studio? Like I told Brad, if we're ever gonna do this again, I really want to have those garage door window doors. For whatever reason, I like the idea of an old mechanic shop or some sort of like old building that looks like it was something else, but now it's this. And I want the higher ceilings. I didn't have high ceilings before. So picture that and then ask yourself, is this a studio you are doing by yourself? By the way, guys, we help people all the time work by themselves with their own studio, making the money they want to make and having no extra teacher help. Or do you want to have a big class? Do you like leading people? Do you like managing people? So we can't answer this question on here because we don't know enough about you and what your goals are. And as coaches, one of the things that we're so proud of at agency is that we actually coach you based on your goals. So we've coached thousands of studios and teachers around the world. And yes, some of the studios have a similar business model, but they all have different goals. And so how they approach what they're doing next depends on that. And so we can't give you a specific answer to your question, but I hope that helps you manifest what you got. And then come to the Accelerator event so you can get to know us more and see if we can support you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, stick around. We'll be right back because we're going to dig in some amazing action items from Stephan Neff. We'll be right back. All right, now let's talk about Stephan Neff. He actually says his name Stephan with a S-C-H-T. Stephan. Yeah, and I was like, that's really cool. So Stephan Neff is an anesthetist.
Yeah.
He's the author of My Steps to Sobriety. He's a speaker, and he's the host of the Neff Inspiration podcast and YouTube channel. With expertise as a functional medicine specialist, a life coach, and yoga instructor, Stephan combines his personal journey with professional insights to help others heal from trauma and addiction. Through radical compassion, mindfulness, and proven clinical strategies, he empowers people to build emotional resilience and embrace lifelong well-being.
But he's just so vulnerable.
Yes, he really was.
And not in like a vulnerable trauma dumping way, like a vulnerable, here's what I did, here's how I fucked up, and here's what I learned from it, and here's how I'm changing my life, and here's how you can.
Yeah, don't be a trauma dumper.
People, well, you know what? Brene Brown in her book talked about vulnerability and shame, right? And she said vulnerability is not like telling everyone like all this stuff just so they run away from you. So some people,
then it becomes like a defense mechanism.
Lay their stuff on you and see if you run away.
Yeah.
His was like, I found myself going, oh my God, how did you get out of that? Oh my God.
Yeah.
And
because I think it was within the last 3 years that
his whole life changed.
He crashed.
I think it's been longer than that, but he's had more changes since then. And so anyways, he said, by going through trauma and being forced to change, you get outside of your comfort zone, you get to experience fear. And he was sharing that he had a successful life with a big house, the wife and kids. And on the inside, he was just not a happy person. And he had these unresolved needs, especially in relationships, and he had unhappiness. And then he said, because you are searching for this purpose in your life, you have not yet found. And so he basically talked about when you have these things happen to you, it forces you to actually go figure out your purpose because you haven't found it yet. And so you're kind of in the wrong place. And, you know, we've talked about this before on the podcast. Taking away someone else's rock bottom is like a terrible thing to do because they often need it. You know, they need the lesson or they need the thing so that they can step into the next iteration of themselves.
Yeah,
you know,
a reflection point.
Not that I'm saying that every bad thing that happens to you, just go with it because it's going to be not like the dude. It sucks when these things happen, but also that hardship and pain you go through, you can learn from it. And you can discover what you're here to do on this planet from that information and take it on. And it doesn't have to become your story. It becomes part of the story that you're leading.
Yeah. It was an intriguing conversation because definitely he's very willing to share the experience that he's gone through. He also has written a whole bunch of books, which is pretty cool too. I mean, the dude's a doctor, right? So he likes to write, apparently.
The day of the dude. We're just going to see how we can put
dude is the doctor.
dude in everything. It's the dude.
Well, look, this dude really loved what Stephan said. He said, you have to take action in order to live your life. And the harder it gets, the more action you have to take, which we could not agree with more. When you take messy action, it gives you clarity. It helps create that path that we were talking about. He shared when he lost his wife of 27 years, he never allowed himself to feel loss and grief. He didn't allow himself to feel it. Yeah. And that was not a win. That was like, he was like, oh, wow, okay. And he just kind of bottled it up. And then he said, actually, the thing that triggered it, that tripped it for him was a song. And he said suddenly he was like overwhelmed and overcome by the loss and grief that he experienced. And it really was powerful. He said, despite taking many of the right actions, he had neglected to address those deep emotions. And then with that song, he said it was so beautiful to cry. It was so beautiful to feel whole again, because yes, I can feel whole again, even after that loss. I can definitely understand that. Thinking back through my divorce, I remember doubting myself, thinking, oh, well, I had my shot. I fucked it up. I guess that was it. He's arguing, no, I can feel whole again despite this. He also shared many daily practices of journaling. He said, those things that I took for granted, you know, they become my wins. They become my wins list. And this is something we've talked about in the past, all the way back at the very beginning of this podcast, where we think it is so important to keep a log of the things that are a win in your life, because it's so easy for us to just focus on beating ourselves up and holding these things. I did this, I did that. I hate myself for this and all this stuff. But we never pull out that card and go, but despite all these negative emotions that I have, that I'm telling myself, all of these other positive things have happened in my life. So it's so helpful to have a journal of those wins.
Yeah, I hope people do it. I just want wins to happen all the time.
You never know when you're going to need to read that. Lesley and I, we have been encouraging our clients to post their wins. People feel, when they first come into our coaching group, they always feel awkward about it because it feels like you're bragging, right? And you're sharing it to a bunch of people who you don't know. So are you bragging, right? But the reality is it has become the most popular channel in our entire group because you go there and you just feel that things are possible when you read about these amazing things that have happened for other people in other people's life because they're taking messy action, because they're trying to figure their way through, and then amazing things are happening. And it's just so inspiring. So you can even inspire yourself.
All the way back to episode 5, we had someone who was talking about how she kept track at the end of her day about her wins. And then we had Alan Stein Jr. somewhere around episode 100 something. And he talked about how at the end of every day, he asked himself, what were his wins for the day? And so this podcast celebrates him on Friday. But my goodness, can you figure out a way to celebrate every day? What did you do? I washed my hair today.
That's a win.
That's a win. I'm telling you, I have been putting it off for 3 days.
I did mine last night.
Yeah, it looks so good. You know what? Stop making it difficult to achieve a win in your life, because otherwise life is already just hard.
Yeah, look, graduating from college, that's definitely a win. No question about it. But it takes years to get to that point where you can finally say, I graduated, right?
You know, in
there
high
are
school,
smaller wins along the way that you can definitely take note
my
of.
senior year, one of the counselors used to have a dry erase board that they showed out their window and how I had to walk to class. I had to pass this thing.
They put a message on it?
They had a message on it. And one day it said, every class, every day. And that was our mantra to show up to every class every day. We're we can do it. Every class, every day. And every day that we went to every class, we're woo, let's go get a latte. We did it. So proud of it. Did you know I cut class? I knew exactly how many classes I could miss in a school year to still graduate with my honors. So I was I can miss this 3rd period because I haven't missed it in a while. And I can. So anyways, figure out what the wins can be and make them small and achievable so that you actually start to give yourself the confidence. And I love that Stephan shared that with us because I think we need that reminder.
Yeah. All right, so finally, let's talk about those. Be it action items, what bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your conversation with Stephan Neff? He explained, for many, gratitude does not come naturally. He said it's a practice. So it's a privilege to be here. Be grateful and practice that. It's a privilege. Then he said the most important bit is to finally stop for a moment and actually try to figure out who you want to be when you grow up.
I know, and we're all still growing up. We're 42, and I know someone who's 62, and I was I have so much time between now and then. Who do I want to be by then? I think it's cool.
He said, create that dream in your mind, who you actually want to be when you grow up. Change your dream to a vision by becoming very, 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 very clear. Once you've nailed it down, go to that next feature until your dream has become a very clear vision.
I can still hear his lovely accent saying these things, and he's so passionate about each of these beit acts. He was so into this whole section.
I know you said New Zealand. I swear I thought he was from Germany.
No, he's New Zealand.
He's in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's
He mentioned Germany.
I know. I don't know quite
why.
Positive because of the time difference. It was a whole different day.
Okay. Well, oh yeah, you know what? You mentioned, I think he was traveling to Gisborne. You did mention Gisborne.
Yeah.
Gisborne. I don't know how to say it.
Gisborne?
No.
Gisborne?
No.
I don't think the R is as emphasized as we do it. So anyways, emphasize.
Yes. It's the place that they have the first light of the day every day. What about you? Let's get back to our be it action items here.
My biggest takeaway was give yourself a hug and spend 15 seconds with yourself after. So let's do that.
Yeah, let's do it right now.
Close your eyes.
So his hug was pretend you can bear hug yourself. So the biggest wrap around your shoulders that you could possibly do. And we're closing our eyes.
Squeeze
and we're going to do
hard.
15 seconds here.
And squeeze as hard as you can and tell yourself, I love you. So ready? Squeeze. I love you. I love you. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Do we hug? Do we stop hugging after 15 seconds? Or do we hug and then we spend 15 seconds?
Just hug yourself.
Okay, well, I'm trying to.
Just hug. Just hug. 2, 1. Awesome. He said he's super good. He's known for giving bear hugs to his friends, but he realized he never gives a bear hug to himself. And I just got chills. I literally just got chills right now.
I feel so good. I feel like I could end the day. It feels amazing.
Yeah.
So
he said, accept who you are. Squeeze as hard as you can and tell yourself, I love you.
Okay, everyone, let us know if you gave yourself a hug. Make sure you tag Stephan, tag the Beit Pod. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for listening to us today. Thank you so much for sharing our podcast with your friends. Thank you for your reviews. They really mean the world to us. And make sure that you share your wins with us. You can start celebrating your wins by sending it to us.
Yeah, text us.
Yeah, that's exactly. Or DM us or whatever you know how to do. We'll figure it out. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Beit Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at beitpod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the Epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.